Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be sharing with you some helpful tips to help you to identify some causes that damage your locks. So I hope you find this video useful. Before we get into it, please do hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. So keep on watching to find out more. So the first thing is always touching your locks or your hair, and I must admit I am definitely guilty of this. I particularly find that I do this when I'm thinking about something, when I'm deep in thought, so automatically my head goes to the back of my hair and I start pulling and tugging, and before I know it, you know, locks start to unravel from the root. And you may find this as well, so always touching your hair, and particularly you may find this at the start of your locks as well. It's very tempting, at least it was for me anyway, when my hair was done and I would just start to touch my locks subconsciously without thinking. But if you find yourself doing this, stop it, because that can definitely start to, you know, pick away at your locks basically. And my mum used to always say to me, get your hand out of your head. So definitely do that, get your hand out of your head. And the next one is, and this is no secret at all, but it's of course retwisting your hair. And yeah, again, I am guilty of this, retwisting my hair too often, and that's another reason why I took a little hiatus on retwisting my hair and, you know, styling my hair in particular. And yeah, that can definitely start to wear your hair, wear your locks down. And I found that I just have some locks that are thinner than others. I'll show you one in particular. This one you may not be able to see properly, but this one is quite thin compared to the rest of them, and especially at the root. So whenever my hair is being done, I'm just, you know, ultra sensitive to that area, because I definitely don't want it to get any thinner. And of course, when you're retwisting, you're literally tightening the hair, and the more you do that, the more pressure you're adding on your hair. So naturally, it's gonna start to get thin and start to get weak. So you just want to try and avoid that as much as possible. Give your hair a bit of a break. Do something like I did, and that's if you do find you struggle, because I did as well. I struggled with the fact of thinking or believing that my hair was messy if it wasn't done, and so therefore I would find myself retwisting. Other people are much better at just letting their hair be, and sometimes that's definitely the reason why you get locks. Especially for me, that wasn't the initial reason. I didn't have to do my hair, but of course there's always a certain maintenance to any kind of style or look you do, but you just have to make sure that you just have a balance with it all. So if you're finding yourself retwisting a lot, just go for a break. Just think, you know, I'm not going to do it for a month, I'm not going to do it for 2 months, and then that's exactly what I did. And eventually I find myself just really getting used to the idea of not retwisting, and I think that's what it is anyway. It's just getting used to a new look for yourself, especially when you're not used to it in the first place. So once you do that, you'll find that it's much easier to go without retwisting your locks. Another one is using rubber bands or simply just styling your hair. Now when you do that, particularly when it's a sort of cross style, you're finding that you're adding a lot of pressure where the hair has sort of crossed itself, or where the rubber band is sitting. And I found that a lot when I used to style my hair in braids, and then to keep the braid in place at the end I will tie a rubber band, and by the time I take it out, it has this lovely nice wave. It has a little kink in it at the end where the rubber band was, and that was applying pressure, and eventually it will just start to wear away the lock. So you'll find that there'll be a little break in your lock where the hair, where the rubber band was, or where the style was in place, and it just makes your hair really weak. Again, I think I've got another, yeah, so even if I do this, you'll see that it bends ever so slightly just there. And that's probably been from an injury of a rubber band and a hairstyle. I haven't done hairstyles in such a long time, and I don't really tend to do many hairstyles to my locks, and that's simply because I just can't bear the fact of there being kinks and little breaks and little thinning parts in different sections or strands of my locks. So I just tend to move away from that, and so I would advise you to do that as well, because that is another cause for really just, you know, harming your locks and causing them to weaken. Another one is tying your hair ready for bed, so using a scarf or anything like that, even if it is a satin or silk scarf or the ones that they really recommend. Once you actually tie a knot and a bow, that sort of pressure that you're putting from the knot in the back of your head or the front of your hair, you'll find that eventually it will start to wear away the hair strands from that section. And I found that a lot, especially at the back of my head, in the middle where I would normally used to put a knot. And so I'd move it more, the knot or the tie, to the front of my hair, not necessarily sitting on my hairline, but more or less sitting on my forehead, so there's no hair for it to rub away the hair strands. And I know that's pretty basic to some, but it's definitely something to bear in mind. Whether even if you are using a silk or satin scarf, just be mindful of where that knot you're tying the hair to be tied. Some people also use a bonnet. I particularly don't use a bonnet. I haven't tried one because I like to have my head laid down, you know, so that it's particularly when I am wearing my hair freshly done or anything like that, I would like to just keep it all, you know, neatly in place. But again, to avoid any damage to my actual hair, I make sure that I tie, or wherever the tie or the knot is, it sits on my actual skin rather than on my hairline. Another one that you need to watch out for and be very mindful of is whenever you're washing your hair, watch out for anything that says detangling or even softening shampoo or conditioner. Now, of course, for natural loose natural afro hair in particular, having anything that's a detangler or softener will really help with the hair to, you know, maintain the hair whilst you're putting it into the start of the washing. But you don't want to do that with your locks, because anything with detangling is more than likely gonna help to loosen up and unravel your actual locks, and you don't want that to happen at all. So avoid anything that has the word detangler or even softener in the product, because you really don't want to do that to your locks. Now, another one is leaving your hair exposed. And when I say exposed, I mean particularly at night when you are tying your hair or, you know, putting it away in your bonnet or anything like that. The best thing to use is a bonnet or a headscarf to make sure your hair is protected from any lint or any build-up that would stick on really to your locks, because when that does happen, eventually it just gets into your hair and it's really hard to unpick. Sometimes even if you find yourself unpicking it, you're actually pulling at your actual hair as well, and that causes it once again to weaken, have any weak spots, and it will cause damage to your locks. So you really want to avoid that. Keep your hair protected, especially at night when you're laying down. Put your hair in a bonnet or put it in a headscarf and you're good to go, particularly protecting the ends of your locks. So guys, those are some of my tips. I hope you found that useful. If you find yourself that you are doing some of these things, I hope this video has helped you to identify them and also just bring you onto that journey of giving yourself lovely, healthy, beautiful locks. So if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Also comment below if you have any useful tips that you would like to share as well. Then please leave it in the comments below. I would love to read them. And if you like this video and you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.